Okay, moving directly on to part 2, and the next story is Ultimatum, the Endgame edition. Now, this story takes place after the events of the next Pokemon Rebirth story or comic called Altered Paths. And here's the plot synopsis of the series. A chance encounter with a vaguely familiar yet absurdly strong Pokemon throws 16-year-old traveler Kaylee Wilson deep into a criminal organization kept hidden from most. Freeing those trapped in its grasp turns out to be the least of his issues, once Kaylee learns of the organization's plans. Just what is Project Rebirth, and what threat does it pose to his home region, Tato, and the rest of planet Osi? Now, Osi is basically the name of the Pokemon planet Earth, or Poke Earth, as some of the Pokemon fans may refer to it as. And there are 37 chapters of Ultimatum, and the first one is Sucker Punch. The first Sucker Punch is named after a Dark-type damage-dealing move. It's finally time for Kaylee to depart on the trip he's long prepared for, but sometimes things happen which no amount of preparation can solve. And next story is Chapter 2, Volt Switch. Who needs help more, Kaylee or the doctor he's being seen by? Meanwhile, there's an issue with the power output in Nashgree City. Volt Switch is the chapter that is named after the signature move of Emolga, and is also of electric type damage dealing move. The next chapter is number 3, Facade. There's something not quite right about the business-minded Dustry town. Kaylee aims to discover just what it is. And next chapter is Destiny Bond, or Chapter 4. A young technician is told of a way out, while a mysterious creature prowling the HQ is taken down. As you can tell, the mysterious creature that was prowling the HQ, that was James being mutatedly transformed into a Houndoom. As Houndoom's design is based on its Mega Evolution form from Pokemon X and Y version, if you haven't played the games. Next is Chapter 5, Assist. In order to bring his plans to fruition, Kaylee takes a leap of faith. And the next chapters are 6 and 7, or Chapter 6, Wild Charge, and Chapter 7, Final Gambit. Some aspects of the group's plan prove to be more than a little reckless. And Chapter 7, events begin to spiral out of control. Chapter 8 is Memento. While Errol tries to get out of a troublesome situation, the rest of the group attempt to find help for James. As you guys don't know, Errol is the human version of Meowth. If you haven't read Altered Paths or Ultimatum, then you really have to figure out why. Next chapter is number 9, Extrasensory, which is named after the Psychic type damage dealing move. Kaylee makes adjustments to his travel plans in an effort to understand some cryptic instruction. Next are chapters 10 and 11. Chapter 10 is Dark Void, and chapter 11 is Hex. While visiting Witchwar Town, 2 of the group members are mysteriously abducted. In Chapter 11 synopsis, exploring an abandoned tower generates some unpredictable interdimensional consequences. Moving on to Chapter 12 is Covette. An experimental device is stolen from Sarthas University. And next chapter is number 13, Drill Run. Houses are disappearing in Town, and everyone pins the blame on the local gym leader's father. But what exactly is going on? And also on chapter 14 is Conversion, which is named after one of the signature moves of Porygon. James is spotted by someone he'd rather avoid, causing a rise in unwanted attention. And I bet you know who that is. It's his ex-fiancée, Jezebel. And chapter 15 is Payday, which was named after the signature move of Meowth in Persian, and the move that was from Metronome by Clefairy, Togepi, etc. Plot synopsis. The group encounter an underground operation while trying to find a solution to their current circumstances. The GS Ball effect. You guys remember the GS Ball, right? It was given to Ash during the Orange Island saga and then was delivered straight to Kurt in Azalea Town, and that mysterious Pokeball has never heard from ever since after the Azalea gym battle. There's chapter 16. Chapter 16 is Substitute, which is named after a non-damaging move where the Pokemon turns into a substitute that can deter the hits from the opponent. Kaylee seeks the guidance of a skilled mentor while James and Rose engage in a spot of training. If you guys don't know who Rose is a character that was created by Mandy, the user of TRSRockin.com, a website dedicated to Team Rocket fans. But somehow closed down in 2011, and her design is a golden blonde hair anime girl with brown eyes. If you see her profile in the Rebirthpedia site. Chapter 17 is Double Team, one of the evasive stat-raising moves taught by a Pokemon. Plot summary. As a beast goes on the rampage and scale falls, Errol meets an old acquaintance with a new look. The beast going rampage? That would be a Lapras Gyarados fusion called Laridos. And an old acquaintance with a new look? That would be Carlin, who used to be Meowth's clone from Pokemon the first movie and Mewtwo Returns. Chapter 18 is Moonlight. Errol makes the final decision. A trip to Tato's capital city results in an awkward encounter. Chapter 19. Chapter 19, Fissure, which is named after a ground-type one-hit knockout move. Denise reveals her true identity, leading to the complexities with the law. Meanwhile, Errol and James enjoy what Maney City has to offer. As you may not notice, Denise is one of the female protagonists of Pokemon Rebirth Ultimatum. Her voice kind of resembles that of Dawn from Pokemon Diamond and Pearl series. The anime version, who's voiced by Shinobu's voice actress from Ninja Nonsense. Next is Chapter 20. And Chapter 20 is Arena Trap, which is named after one of the abilities by Trapinch, who will later evolve into Flygon. Plot synopsis. The group are captured, but how can they persuade their captor to set them free before unsavory forces get involved? Chapter 21. And it's Defog, which is named after an HM move that can be used to remove the fog in the overworld area if you're playing Pokemon Diamond and Pearl versions. Kaylee takes Rose's advice to visit a place that'll help strengthen his conviction. At the same time, other members of the group take a break at a local entertainment event. And on the cover are these Celivas. They are fan-made Pokemon that are basically the pre-evolution form of Celebi. Chapter 22 is Synchronoise, one of the Pokemon moves that is named after. Plot synopsis. A mysterious force generates chaos during a Pokemon rally. A Pokemon rally is basically one of those race events in Tata region. Chapter 23, Skill Swap. In trying to solve the mystery of the day's events, the group end up uncovering more than they could have cared for. Looks like a body switch that sort of kind of reminds you of Heart Swap, the signature move of Manaphy. And chapter 24 is Ice Shard, which is named after an ice-type damage-dealing move. 2 missing companions return, bringing with them worrying developments from overseas. Oh, this is what happens during the events after Altered Paths, and everybody figures out whatever did happen to Ash Ketchum. This cover shows that some dark force or corruption is possessing Ash to beat up his Pikachu abusively. Ash did not do anything wrong. He's just being controlled and possessed by a dark being or whatever. Okay, in chapter 25, Blue Flare, which is named after the signature move of Reshiram, the legendary Fire Dragon type Pokemon. Kaylee and the others trace a familiar signal only to have their worst fears confirmed, and on the cover is a fusion between Blaziken and Latios or Latios. It's a fan-made fusion Pokemon. And on chapter 26 is Torment. As the situation is brought into focus, the group begins to wonder if there's any hope left. That's Ian from Pokemon Coliseum. And chapter 27 is Miracle Eye. While Jessie faces an obstacle inside her head, a mysterious traveler comes to Cassidy's aid after her health deteriorates. Chapter 28, Shift Gear. Kaylee ramps up his trading as Jessie, James, and Errol lend their skills to an inventor in need. The trio finally reunites. Chapter 29, Grudge, which is named after one of the moves that Ghost-type Pokemon know. I think Shedinja knows the move Grudge, and Bayonet does, and many other Ghost types. Plot synopsis. The match between Kaylee and Lavender continues. Elsewhere, Jessie, James, and Errol face a thievery with darker connotations. Chapter 30 is Hidden Power, which is named after one of the signature moves of the Unknown, and it's a normal type damage dealing move depending on what type. On their way north, Butch and Cassidy discover a civilization steeped in a tragic past. Moving on to chapter 31, Ally Switch, and on the cover is Dirk, the character who appeared in Mewtwo Prologue to Awakening, the anime special that takes place before the events of Genesect and the Legend Awakened. Plot synopsis. With new accomplices come new challenges. How is the group going to face being split apart? And moving on, chapter 32. And chapter 32 is Close Combat, which is named after a fighting type damage dealing move. On the cover is the Iron Mask Marauder and Agent Black Tulip, or in this case we call her Domino.